For my friends, relatives, esteemed colleagues, I was asked to talk about Candida overgrowth, about problem with fungus in the body. So again, we have to start ignoring what we are being told in our schools. What we are being told that, Candida normally lives on the body, can be on the skin, can be in your mouth, can be in your intestines as a normal part of the flora. But the problem is when it overgrows, when it multiplies, when it's more abundant than before. And we said, well, it became pathogen, and reason for it, well, most likely your immunity has dropped, your resistance has dropped. Then another excuse is, well, you have been given antibiotics. Antibiotics destroy the bacteria, and bacteria controls the growth of fungus. They are in competition. So when there is no bacteria, you will have overgrowth of fungus. Well, this would imply that if you are not infected by bacteria, you will be infected by fungus. So there is no way out, right? And then we go to food. Well, certain foods, but again, if you have strong immune system, this is not going to happen. So immune system has to drop, that you have then fungal overgrowth. And the only way to deal with it is basically kill it, destroy it. And to kill fungus is a little tricky because fungus encapsulates. So as soon as it feels in danger, it creates a capsule around it, which is impenetrable. Antibiotic cannot go through. And this is why only very strong poisons can be used, which are then toxic for the body. And we are being told, it's very difficult, because if they give you these heavy poisons, they are going to destroy your mostly kidneys and liver. Well, again, we are here in a war. We are always fighting. It's like we have cabal in our body. Fight. As I have mentioned before, that health is not about fighting. Health is about supplying body with what it needs and prevent its intoxication, poisoning. So when do we know that we have an overgrowth? And how do we know it? Well, usually in the skin, it can be discoloration. You can see white patches. Athlete foot, okay, the skin is starting to peel. It's itchy, it gets inflamed. Now, why the skin gets itchy and gets inflamed? It's acidic. When do we know that bacteria, but not bacteria, when do we know that life flourishes? When there is plenty of food. Well, we always have plenty of cells. It doesn't change. So how come all of a sudden fungus, or even bacteria, starts to grow and overgrow? Obviously, they don't feed on your cells. But there is something that you are increasing that fungus thrives on. Is that good for your body? Well, most likely it's not. Because if it's good for your body would absorb it and it would not stay there as a food for fungus. Whenever I speak about so-called pathogens, I emphasize is that those pathogens actually are garbage disposal systems. They cannot fit on your cellular structure. It's like feeding on batteries. They get zapped with electricity. They feed on dead stuff. They feed on the garbage. And where do we have usually bacteria? In acidic environment. And what creates acidity in our body? Are sugars, alcohol, sugar, carbohydrate, right? It's not the meat as we are being told. You will not have overgrowth of fungus when you're on meat diet. It happens when you are vegan, vegetarian, or even omnivore, but you eat a lot of carbohydrates. You create acidity. If you are urinating and it burns, well, we check urine, we find fungus. Fungus is causing the burning sensation. This is not true. You have there fungus because now you have a lot of acid that fungus is thriving on, and actually is helping you to deal with it. It destroys it. But this acid also burns your tissue, so it gives you burning sensation. Women very often suffer from Candida and secretion, vaginal secretion, and it burns. Not because of Candida, it burns because there are acids. And Candida is there because there is a food. So instead of trying to kill the Candida, why not to eliminate the food that Candida eats? We know in nature, when there is a scarcity of food, there is scarcity of life. You have a lot of wild game, you have a lot of wolves. And food becomes scarce to them, less wolves you are going to have. It's always same, it's all fractal, it's always the same thing. A lot of people like to drink kombucha. Kombucha is basically fungus, and for the fungus to grow and then to produce this, what they call tea kombucha, well, you have to put sugar there. As sugar breaks down, produces acids, produces alcohol. This is what fungus feeds on. And that's why it's growing. Same as in our body. So you have a Candida overgrowth, use the self-healers protocol, cleanse yourself and change your diet. But very often people that have chronic problem with Candida, they are very excited after a couple of weeks on protocol. Wow, Candida is going away, it's almost gone, I feel so good. And then all of a sudden, the third, fourth week especially, they go, I don't know, this protocol is not really working, Candida is back. Why? Because first you have the Candida there because you have a lot of toxicity in the blood, and whatever is slowly secreted out through mucosal tissue, you are going to have Candida there feeding on that toxic acidic garbage. Same with vaginal secretion, same thing, it's acidic. And they're going to be Candida there. And when you start detoxifying, you drink a lot of plasma, water with sea salt, diluted seawater, you drink it, your body goes in detox and starts throwing things out, and you become less and less acidic on circulatory level, blood, plasma, lymph, and Candida has nothing to eat. and it starts diminishing. But then blood cleanses and the cells start hydrating and they start talking, they start throwing their own toxins now out. It goes in the blood, and what are those toxins? Acid. They're acids, and these acids mostly, there are heavy metals, there are all kinds of stuff, biological stuff which is put through with the shots that children always have to have for their protection. And what happens? All this garbage, but a lot of acids, now flood the blood again, and they start being excreted. And again, plenty food for Candida. It gets back, it starts growing again. But you don't have to destroy it, you just work on your cleansing. And soon after you will see again drop, as you get cleaner, drop in symptoms and disappearance of Candida. And not only Candida, all bacterial problems, because all this is related to our food and lack of plasma, so the body cannot cleanse, and then stuff accumulates, and this is plentiful food then for microorganisms. When we eat incorrectly, we have incorrect flora in our gut, and very often we have fungus. Again, because we eat carbohydrates, we eat plenty sugars. So we have to change the diet. We have to learn not to eat carbohydrates. Not that we need little of them. They are the forbidden food. If you believe that God inspired creation of Bible, then it tells you there it's a forbidden food. Okay, Bible is manipulated, so they don't say food, they say fruit. But it is it. It's the carbohydrate, it's the starch, glucose. And since the only access to the glucose you have if you destroy cellulose, which always separates it from animal life, so animals cannot get poisoned by it in nature. Humans do, because they cook it and they burst cellulose. And then they give this to the domestic animals, and domestic animals have the same health issues as humans do. It doesn't even matter if they are herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, they will have the same problems, because no animal is supposed to be exposed to glucose, dietary glucose. And this is why no animal has enzyme to break cellulose. We don't have cellulose. And no animal has it except some worms. So, and some microorganisms. So it's very obvious. You don't have to be a brain surgeon to know this and to see this. It's obvious. Animals in nature don't have any chronic problem, don't have any Candida overgrowth, no bacterial infection. They can have fresh wound and big wound, roll in the dust, go through mud, and they never even have infection. Forget about sepsis. So obviously they do something, or we do something that we are not supposed to do. And we are cooking food, and especially we are eating carbohydrates, which no animal eats. Even herbivore does not eat carbohydrates. You feed cow or sheep corn, bread, any kind of a starch, they die. They blow up and die. It changes the microflora, creates a lot of methane, compresses the heart, finished, in a lot of pain. So this is about Candida. We don't have to reach for any medication. We don't need to reach for any supplements, because you don't want to fight, you don't want to kill. You just readjust the chemistry of your body, actually readjust the vibration by providing the correct vibration of raw foods. And anything that you cannot eat raw, it's not your food, period. And always vegans ask and vegetarians ask me, so why did God create beans? Well, God created rocks, created trees. You don't need them. Not everything that God created is for you to eat. It's extremely simple. So you have to be careful of what you eat, and you have to always supply a lot of plasma so body can keep cleansing. And when you have a burn, you urinate and it's burning, well, just keep drinking a lot of plasma so these acids become diluted. And you have a lot of plasma, a lot of water with minerals that you are eliminating with less acids, and it will burn less. But you will have discomfort until you hydrate and cleanse these acids out. The burn is not coming because of Candida or because of bacteria, it comes because of the acids. So this is where the truth lies. Again, if you really want to kill fungus, use colloidal silver. Colloidal silver destroys even the fungus. The shield is not going to save them. So if you have fungus, athletic feet, on your feet, take a little water, put colloidal silver in there. Has to be nanoparticle, has to have yellow color. The other silver is garbage. Don't even look at it, what they call ionic, small microscopic particles. Remember, the characteristics of elements do not depend on atomic structure. Atom does not exist the way we are being told. All characteristics depend on the sacred geometry, on the net, the form that they create. And for silver to have all its characteristics, it has to have particular geometric structure. And it is not going to have it until it is at least in nanoparticle size. And this goes for almost all elements. So once when it's in nanoparticle size, it's here. It can show all the properties, it may not. And this is why nano-sized elements are being used now a lot in attack on a human body, because then they can easily be stimulated to show or not to show the properties they have. And if you wonder if the colloidal silver that you have bought has the proper geometric structure and it will do what it should be doing, well, you just expose it to sunlight. If the structure was completed, then the liquid is going to turn dark gray. And it will start sedimenting the silver, because silver will oxidize. If the structure was not completed, it will not have characteristics of silver, and it is not going to oxidize, and it will stay transparent. This is very easy, simple trick. You don't need laboratory to see if what you bought is good colloidal silver or not. And colloidal silver deprives oxygen all one cell form. So it is going to destroy any bacteria, it will destroy any fungus, any one cell parasite like mycoplasma, like amoebas, rickettsias. It will destroy eggs of any kind of a parasite. So just drink it or apply it to the area. You have fungus underneath the nails, little water, because you can dilute it, it's very potent. So instead of wasting liters of it, in 2 liters of water, you can put a half deciliter of good nanoparticle colloidal silver. That is yellowish in color, but yellowish not because it has additive. It's just that particles, nanoparticles, when they are in water, they will refract the light in such a way to show yellow color. It could be nanoparticle copper, it could be nanoparticle gold, it could be nanoparticle iron. It is going to show yellowish color. And so does nanoparticle colloidal silver. This is simple truth. And nobody can tell you other, because this is truth. And you can very easily verify it. You know that if you have silver and you expose it to light, it is going to turn black. It oxidizes. The old films, camera films, that we used to develop, they have silver colloid on them. You expose it to the light book, and where more light hit it, this is where it's going to be darker. And you have your negatives. And now, instead of having it on a film, you are drinking it. It will not do any harm. Don't believe in this purple and blue and all kinds of pictures that they show you on the internet. It's stupidity. Of course, you don't drink gallons of it. Small amounts. And they always work best locally. Every medicinal remedy, although colloidal silver is not toxic in any way, and body continues hydrating even with silver in it. And colloidal silver is nothing more than distilled water with nanoparticles and smaller particles of silver in it. The body will hydrate, it will go into the cell, which means that if there is such an animal as a virus, it will be destroyed by colloidal silver. And there is no way that a virus could hide anywhere, because this colloid nanoparticle silver can reach every part of your body, brain, everything. So we are just being lied all over the place, and we don't think. We just accept those lies and repeat them like a parrot. So it's time for us to start thinking, observing and thinking. This is why I make these videos, just to stimulate you to start observing and thinking for yourself. And don't trust me, but I'm showing you always how you can verify it for yourself. And do it. Simple. You don't need any laboratory. It's very simple. Okay? So, don't fight. Help your body to hydrate, cleanse, change the food, correct the food, and you will see fungus goes away, bacteria goes away because there's no garbage to feed on, and you will start eating way less, producing way less toxins, and you will cleanse the toxin immediately out, and you will be clean like a whistle, and no disease can touch you. Thank you for being here. Love you all. The topic of Candida overgrowth, I forgot to mention for women, because they are mostly glucoholics, and they have problem with Candida secretion, very it's not comfortable, and it irritates. So you can help yourself. Again, you have to do change of diet and cleanse, but as additional remedy during the process, at least to ease the problem, you can lay down, raise your legs, take colloidal silver, nanoparticle colloidal silver, I don't know, 20 milliliters, big syringe, or there are these, I don't even know how you call them, rubber suction cups, and you can just suck in some colloidal silver, apply it into the vagina, raise your hips, and stay there like 10, 15, 20 minutes if you can, because as soon as you get up, it's gonna flow out, and you need to stay in that position as long as you can to absorb the colloidal silver, and it is going to destroy the Candida. And you do it twice a day, or if you can 3 times a day, and you will see rapidly this clears up, but remember it will come back unless you change the diet. Okay, this is a little addition I forgot to mention. Thank you very much to listen. Bye.